You got lyrics and tunes eating them like Johnny and chopstick. Hey, 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 everybody in the place, watch it. This is a frolic, this is a jam. All of the ladies, all of the men, put your hand them up so, put your flag them up so, put your rock them up so. But you can't just let it go. No.
I hear it all over, nothing but hot over on every corner. So don't take over, making me realize it's carnival. No, we can't go jump up, play with my sweat up, so we don't gear up. So tear this place up, we'll be creating a big scandal.
Everybody in the party start to wave.
Wind your way, walk your way, twist up your face, tear up the place. No jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up. Wind your way, walk up your way, twist your face, tear up the place. No jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up. I see a nice faces on the street revealing that they are no fear, they just don't care. That's how I know carnival is all colors of glasses, exposing their asses, and I will bet there'll be no regrets, 'cause they will do it again next year.
Everybody jump.
Wind your way, chuck your way, twist up your face, tear up the place. No jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up, jump, jump, get up. Wind your way, walk up your way, twist your
I had to tell you, right? In this era, in these tune here, salute was great Onika Bustic, right? It had two kind of people in Fet. It had people who used to go fet, to wind back and push back, throw up the beer in the air, throw up the drink, wear down people, push people and fet, find a way in front of the stage, and it had some people who just used to line up to get a chance to sing this.
Yes, we're not waiting. Them lyrics that are penetrating. When they see I get the whole crowd waving, see the girl in the front of the stage and the boom boom thoughts having all the big man gaping. Big man thinking about raping. Couple tell they gonna pass and scraping, so they breathe in, make a heart stop beating, and take off your shoes that you put your feet in. I change all down to me dress code. Some me dress code now with the best code. Some me belt tie up the shoes back on me lace, and then I go and put on me west coat, and I come and I tip me some beer row. On the campus they can lead us, but I'm not in the place, and we ain't watching face. It's a frolic, this is a jam. All of the girls, all of the man, put the flag them up so, put your rock them up so, everybody jump so, let's go see your way so, put your hand them high, put them in the sky, everybody dance.
Hey, welcome to episode 193 of the Quarry Shepherd podcast. Did I say 93? All the people who had know the lyrics to that bungee part feel it was better than everybody else. Welcome to episode 193. Salute, welcome on board. Glad to have all you back. Thanks for tuning in. I had to play tunes away, call you up, because no. I know some all you catch all hell to wake up to drop them children to school. I like how parents has put it on the children, right? Parents has been telling the children from the week before, you gotta go to sleep early, get yourself ready. All this time you think, try and pick up a book all the week before the thing. And them children just get up and they just go to school like normal. And it's the parents who struggling. If you see them sleeping on themselves on the way to school, if you see them this morning. But I want to say that I'm very happy. I was worried about moving and all the different things that this year bring. Hey, 2024 is a big year for me. It's a big year, a big year. It's like a clap for that. A lot happening this year. But if there was ever a time I was happy to have moved and come back to my nesting place of my birth in the West here, right? If ever there was a time that I was happy about it, and if I was second guessing any decisions, this morning make it good, right? I'm recording this late Monday night because I don't have to go to sleep early like Shagona's day. Salute to everybody in Shagona, salute to all my friends in Riverview Park, and say I'm missing Riverview Park bad enough. But it's 10 minutes to take me to Fatima this morning. Fatima starting 7:20. I leave home 10 to 7. I reach 7 o'clock. I also saw on the way, I make a drop off. I stop, I get something to eat. On the way back, who I still see driving to school? Paula Stacy. Well, to tell you the truth, nothing changed for Paula Stacy. Nothing changed for Paula Stacy because she leaving Chagonas the same time she was living in the West at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't know if that make. I don't know if the maths, but it's a girl math, right? Girl math is a real thing. Welcome back. How are you going? Everybody had a good week. I'm glad to have people back in school and back in work and so on, because as I constantly complain that all it don't take me on during the vacation at all. But I'm happy to report, right, on the numbers. They say it's a podcast about podcasting, but in the last weeks of the vacation, I see the numbers starting to go back to normal. Thank you very much for all of you who tuned back in and you missed episodes, but you went and find the old episodes and so on. I just want to warn you that when I say things that you don't agree with on older episodes, right? I can't remember what I say. I can't remember what I'm talking about right now. I watching a board in front of me here. I can't remember what I supposed to come here to talk about. I can't believe we're still on this, right? This is the last time I covered this. Last time, I promise only, because we seem to be still on this emblem conversation. So after coming out of the whole thing, the pan changing, everybody had gone to who had to design it and so on, master designers working on it. And there is a consultation going on right now about not just the emblems and what we have. Of course, the emblems find its way into this conversation because of what happened now with the steel pan, right? But the broader discussion is about the renaming of streets, the statues that we have all over the place, and you know how I feel about it. But one a man come and get on bad, and I know me, I am the peacemaker, blessed is the man who makes the peace, who carries a peace. Well, I'm blessed, right? I'm blessed. So reading from Melissa Maynard, whichever newspaper, that's Trinidad Express. Tension stirred yesterday during the public consultation of the cabinet-appointed committee to review the placement of statues, monuments, and signage in Trinidad and Tobago, which was held at Government Campus Plaza in Port of Spain. First, let me just say that I'm happy that this is happening, right? Because when people make the argument about whose decision it is to rewrite history, is our decision. So I'm glad that there's public consultation on it and so on. And I say here a lot, right? I talk here a lot about going to things and partaking more in the culture and being more, coming here and talking about this is obviously not enough. So it'd be good to show up for consultations like this, but it's very true being going on, I live in vicariously through all the people who go to this. So they say one participant with a different view openly disrupted Zakia Uzoma Wadada, chair of the Emancipation Support Committee of TNT, ESCTT, as she was given her contribution on the removal of Christopher Columbus statue in Port of Spain. I think I could take a guess as to what Zakia wanted to say about Columbus. Uzoma Wadada also suggested that efforts should be made to have Oxford Street renamed Kwame Ture or Stokely Carmichael Churchill Carmichael. No, Stokely Standiford. If I could read, that would be good. It's first day of school. Stokely Standiford Churchill Carmichael. I didn't have anybody Standiford and Churchill, and I Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture. Name it Kwame Ture Street. The Trinidad and Tobago Black Power advocate who rose to fame in the United States in the 60s and 70s, she said the Emancipation Support Committee has already submitted pages of substantial contribution. She stressed that the process is an issue about how after 62 years of independence and almost 50 years of republicanism, we continue to live in a space that reflects the ideals and the vision of the views of those who were colonial masters. So the process of decolonization is what we're about. I agree. Uzoma Wadada called for the country to decolonize our space, even our emblems, everything that represents us needs to be decolonized so that we live in a space that is reflective of who we are now. She added that statues represented in the country need to reflect those who are important to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, saying it cannot be Picton, it cannot be Christopher Columbus, it cannot be George and Henry. You know what? A part of me, I might be adjusting my stance on this a little bit. I think it's not that it can't be, or for the people who talk about erasing the history. I don't think that's my goal. My goal is not to make Trinidad and Tobago only representative of black history, because that is not reasonable and that is not the true history. But I think that more of what we have contributed, and when I say we, Trinidad and Tobago, not black people necessarily, everything that made up Trinidad and Tobago should be represented. So what I want to be is in a space where Columbus and Picton and these people, if they're not removed completely from the streets and the statues and so on, it should be minimized. They should have smaller things representing them, or regulate them to a part of the museum or the library that deals with colonial life in Trinidad and Tobago. If you want to have a museum of colonialization where people could go and visit who want to understand and learn the past, because we shouldn't rob the children or the adults of the opportunity to learn about themselves. Case in point, right? Let me make a quick argument here, and I know I'm changing my stance a little bit, but you know me. One me I agree with last week, I could change my mind completely. I remember going to Atlanta, and this is something I'm looking forward to the next time I go and see my sister. Salute to the Cash family, right? Loud Cash, no joke. But I'm going to see them soon, and they in Maryland area, right? So I'm hoping that when we could go to DC, because one of the things that I want to do is to go to the African American museums in DC. And I would encourage anybody to do that anywhere they go in the South, right? And one of the reasons that I feel like any black person in particular should try to see that, or anybody who interested in what slavery really represented and what it was about and so on. When you go to those museums, salute my boy Edmundo and my partner Juan. We went to one in Atlanta. I think Edmund knew he'd been there before, and he knew what we were going to see. So he didn't say anything. He just said he was taking us to museum, Atlanta, the history of Atlanta museum and so on. It was not a museum based around slavery, but in the history of Atlanta, they had a section that dealt with the slave trade in the South in America, right? And I'll tell you this, when we walk in there and I see a life-size Ku Klux Klan, the man had to be about 6'5", and about 3 feet wide in the Ku Klux Klan outfit. So you know the US, the Yankees, they're good at preserving their history, yeah? And so the cloak, the hood and everything had blood stains on it. It was very, very real when you saw it. And I remember the thing that stood out to me the most, other than how, because when you hear these things, you talk about it or you read about it in books or you watch movies like Roots and stuff, it stir up something in you, right? But let me tell you something. When you see this in person and you realize how cruel mankind is to each other, especially when a man wants to see you as 1/3 of a man, when he finally recognizes you, he tell you he's 2/5 of a man or whatever equation they come up with in the States, right? That does something inside you that everybody should see and experience. So I'm saying this to say, I was grateful to have that experience. I'm grateful for Edmund for two things, for taking us there. And because I did not know this existed, that those kind of displays existed. You see in chattel houses, you see in receipts for slaves, and you see in they preserve things like whips. Listen, it is rough. It is very hard to see. There was a part in the display where it was covered in black cloth because it was lynchings, and you had to lift up the cloth to see the lynchings. But I lift up every single one. Tears in my eye. I don't think I ever stopped being tearful in that display. It was difficult. Even me, I could go into the chattel house and sit down on a rocking chair and thing, and the scent and everything was so real. And when you see the receipts for slaves written up like livestock, a mother and the child and a thing, and the African and the measurements and thing, boy, listen, it reminds so much of the NFL Combine, but that's a different discussion, right? But the point I'm making is that I'm grateful for Edmund for taking me there. And for not spoiling the experience while letting us, he didn't tell us what to expect, which was good. I'm going back to DC to go and see it again, and I need Stacy to see that, and I need Zachary to see that. Well, I need Stacy to see that particularly so she can understand how to treat a black man, right? I need her to understand that it's 400 years of pressure man can't take no more pressure again. But I want them to see that and to experience that and to know how cruel this world could be and what we've been through. And also to take inspiration. I don't know how my son will interpret it, but he may take inspiration from where we've come and what we've overcome and what we've been able to achieve over time and how great and how limitless his potential is. But I wouldn't have been able to experience that had it been for somebody who purged the entire history by saying, this is a bad part of us. This is something that we must never show and we must never display about who we are and so on. Because I've heard the discussion in, what's my partner name in Florida, Ron DeSantis or something like that. I ain't so good at the American politics, but I hear the discussion in Florida about removing the whole notion or the whole story about slavery or enslavement from the history books and not teaching it at all in school, which I think is a travesty. So when I draw that parallel there and how much I appreciated that experience that somebody preserved that so I could see that. And what you take from it, what people take from it will be different things, right? It makes me start to look at our situation here and say, well, all right, maybe combustors have a little bit of a place, right? Stay with me. Don't hang up yet, right? Don't hang up the phone. Maybe there's a way for us to show, and maybe a museum is the place to do it. It's certainly not in the middle of our square. In other words, our premium, it's come like Prestige Holdings. Prestige Holdings looking to put a KFC on the corner in Independence Square, it's called the Brian Lara Promenade, Marine Square, where they were looking to put that down on Brian Lara Promenade and then one on Busy Corner in Chagonas and then down by the library in San Fernando. KFC looking for prime locations throughout the country to put their restaurant, right? And in the same way, we must take all the prime locations and make sure that the statues, the names of the streets and everything are representative of us. They must be of us. It had to be the Stokely Carmichael, when they talk about Sunny Man, or I think it's of course I will forget the name now, but there's a statue of a cricketer. Is it Sunny Ramadan? I go and get that wrong, but there's a statue of a cricketer in Palmis Park. My father would kill me. He fed up tell me what was the man name. Before my time, right? But I would feel more proud to drive past Independence Square and see a statue of Sunil Narayan in the middle of the square than some of these people who I can relate to at Oxford and picked up. So know that they taking up all the prime locations. And a man like Sunil Narayan, who is one of the most dangerous bowlers from CPL to IPL, anything with a PL, he destroyed, right? From down to the Premier League. Could be forgotten in the same way I forget this man's name who was in Palmis Park. Youths coming up might say they might remember who he is and how bad he is and them kind of things. So I rather that. I prefer that. I prefer that we maintain our prime spots and sacred spaces and they're named after people who we collectively as a country view as positive influences on our culture. And then we could take a colonial museum, Columbus and them fellas is Moruga they reach, where they had we could put the museum down there too, right? Salute girl Simone, right? Simone is always talking about preservation of history. Preserve it with them fellas reach so that people have to go real far. If you really want to learn about colonialism, go down there and you could learn about it. But getting back to this thing, they say it was then that Uzoma Wadada was interrupted by an outburst from a member of the audience, Frank Ferrero, who was seated in the front row and shouted, "I disagree with you, you're rambling, you're talking nonsense." Which I think, in a public consultation, disagreement is welcome, conflict is welcome. Conflict is not a bad thing. In management, they talk about things like conflict teams and so on, where you put people together who see things in different ways, and they tend to come out with better results. Number one, because they ain't letting nobody's pass no slipshod work. The level of conflict is caused a check and balance. But also because you put two people together who see varying points of views and they tend to get richer contributions from that. So I would think that Ms. Wadada, Mr. Pereira, only could make all your contributions and disagree and things, but in a respectful way. In other words, I disagree with you. I really have an issue with people who, when you're talking to them, they say, "I disagree," and "You're wrong." You don't have to make somebody else wrong for your point of view to be right. I don't believe that at all. You could just say your point of view. See how you see it differently. Better we build on what each other saying than trying to break down what somebody else say before you say what you say. Anyhow, they say attempts were made by moderator DK Rustan, salute to DK Rustan, to quell the disturbance, reminding Ferrer that he too would get an opportunity to make his contribution. Only ever see DK Rustan? If I like to call myself peacemaker, he voiced on everything in this song like peacemaking. They couldn't pick somebody better to host this. He said the interruption also prompted other members of the audience to shout their opinions about Ferrero. Because some men in the back of the thing started to get warmer. Their opinions about Ferrer's disruption, labeling it as rude and disrespectful. However, he continued for a few minutes before a member of the committee intervened, asking for respect to be maintained as persons shared their views. During his contribution, Ferrer stated that the disagreement with the removal of Columbus, he disagreed with the removal of Columbus. So, in other words, he for that. He said, my family is Portuguese and we owned over the years all the rum shops in Cuba. So when I hear somebody talk about Stokely Carmichael and our father in the nation, Dr. Eric Williams, banned Stokely Carmichael from the country, banned him totally. He did not want that individual who was around in 1969. He was up in his states and created real problems. So you're making this man, Stokely Carmichael, a hero. I say no, you cannot make that man a hero. Dr. Eric Williams probably turning in his grave. I want to get back to the part, only leave out the main part of the article out. At some point, this Ferrer man tell the woman to go back to Africa. Right? Ferrer went on to challenge the chief of the First Peoples, Ricardo Barrett Hernandez, on whether the Arawaks were peaceful people. He said they committed murder. Y'all are a murderous gang of people. Nobody could dispute that but you, and expressed dissatisfaction with the chief. Ferrer registered his support for the Christopher Columbus statue, saying, you talk about Columbus with genocide. Columbus was an ordinary individual who loved books, who discovered a likeness for seafaring activities, who frequented the sea, and was an enterprising individual. It just goes to show you that, listen, when you look at these viewpoints, and keeping in mind that as school reopen, and some of us, so congratulations to everybody who on a new journey in school, including my son. So men is Fatima men. All of a sudden, men come back from one day of secondary school and their voice start to talk heavy. They ain't talking no light voice again. It's the greatest I've ever seen. But remember that when we were that age, we were taught that this was a good man and we had to learn about him and how he came, and is in starting to recognize that if he was a good man to Pereira and them, he certainly was no good man to we. And we start to view him different. Is holding that memory that everybody could have a different viewpoint about these things, because one man said the Arawaks need to be thing and the chief needs to be a statue for him and name the thing after the First Peoples. This man say is a murderous and wicked people. So the balance that is needed in these consultations, I think, and salute to DK Rossan and everybody who was on the committee there for at least attempting to maintain the balance. I will never support Ferreira and his sentiments, especially the way he wants to put it across. I think there's a direct issue coming out of this generation. It taking hard slap off the table. You see, everybody know that in this time you cannot get your teeth scattered out. You can't do it no more. When I was growing up, if you say certain things to certain people, you could be looking for your 32 on the ground, you know what I mean? You had to find back a few to carry by a dentist, but he know he could say whatever he want. And apparently he have a reputation for this type of sentiment and these kind of comments because, again, there was a part where he said go back to Africa. And I kept seeing that people in the know or people who were there said that the media didn't report on the worst things he was saying. They said he go back to Africa and the comments about the First People wasn't the worst things that he said. So I'll always disagree with that. And I mean, you could say all that without trying to be offensive to people and come to genuinely progressive consultation that will help all of us to move forward as a people. But I will say that I appreciate everybody who is taking the time to be on these committees and expressing their opinion in earnest. Because the thing about it is, if I am a descendant of Columbus who come to Trinidad, my viewpoint will be that this was a great man who helped me discover here. And if it worse again, if I come to Trinidad and I do well, I might say, boy, listen, we had to preserve him. But in consultations like these, as with the general population, once it's representative of the general population, which it will generally be, the voice of the people who see that differently had to be heard and had to be taken into consideration. So Columbus could go in a museum in Moruga for colonialism, just to make sure that we don't erase the history. And so that, like my slave museum experience that I had and that I'm going to have, is preserved. I also spoke a few times here about my trip and experience in Alcatraz. Even though Alcatraz is no longer a jail and was seen as not fit for humans, it was preserved and you could go and visit it and you could do the tour. And that is another one of the tours that I went on, where for the entirety of the tour is tears in my eyes. And if anybody, somebody told me the other day I'm an abolitionist. I didn't know that. I didn't know that this was a thing. I've said there many times that I don't believe people should be in jail. It ain't right. And Alcatraz is one of those experiences that has me thinking that way. And I felt that way before there and even more that way after. But again, I done. The consultation's going on. I'm not talking no more about this. I feel like it's about 6 weeks now we on this emblem and renaming this and renaming that, and I'm a little tired of it. I know I'm fed up of it too. What I want to do is to first wish Trinidad and Tobago a happy independence. Whatever we name is, and whatever we rename thing is a different discussion from the fact that we must celebrate our independence. I feel good about Trinidad and Tobago when I see Independence Day every single year, because they talk about the sports and the music and those things bringing people together. But as much as independence, whether you want to call it like a celebration of freedom or recognition of what we've been through and so on, but the little fireworks, the parade, I get up the morning to watch a little football. People tell me, I'm taking the parade, and I put on the parade, and it feels good to see people parading and thing, and a unification of the pan and the tassel in the parade, and all the different, even down to the minute maid, what is called the traffic wardens, them marching. It's everybody marching, scout, cadets, everybody marching in this thing. But it's a long ceremony. I saw, salute to my Uncle Steve, right? I see him say something. I like his perspectives. He's on Facebook. Stephen Shepherd, go and follow him, right? But he was talking about the discussion around colonialism. This is my last point on this. But he was saying that even the driving of the Land Rover for President Christine Kangaloo, to go and inspect the troops is a colonial hand-me-down. But if you ask me, the whole march and everything is that. But I like how the marches start off as a colonial march with and then it's break out into say you're too young to soca. Oh, yo, they making joke. By the time them men hit Tragrate Road, it's Fat Man playing coming down the road, which is us, right? So I want to play a few songs from Independence this year, as I do every year. And usually I play nation building songs and Trinidad and Tobago songs, and I think I exhaust that list. And Saturday night, I was salute to my little brother too, Stefan. His birthday is Independence Day. So that's my guy. Independence Day, very, very Trinidadian, somewhat. But I was invited to St. Edmund. We had a line by Saturday night. We had a good time. We went and looked at the fireworks and them thing. And again, the whole unification of people and bringing people together. I feel like it's a good time for us to remember what that independence was about. And rather than playing songs about independence or songs about Trinidad and Tobago, I decided to go back to 1962 and take in some of the prominent songs from that year. The Road March, the Monarch, them kind of thing. And keep in mind that the discussion, I want you to think of if everybody coming together for the fireworks and the parade and they love how it go and people looking to get wet down on Tragrate Road, right? How much ever years down the road. I think we're 62 years old now, right? 62. And we got independence in 1962. I wanted to, with this anticipation and that love we have for independence, and even if it's to just put the corner of your eye on the parade on the morning, right? Or throw a corner of your eye on the fireworks, or just wear something red because it's Independence Day. I want you to throw your mind back to what it would have feel like when the discussions, just like they have these consultations around this. Imagine the consultations that was happening in 1959, 60, 61 about independence, and imagine the rally behind Dr. Eric Williams. Because we have all different races of people, all different backgrounds, First Peoples, people, Emancipation, people, Portuguese. One thing common in that consultation is all them, Dr. Eric Williams, the father of the nation, right? Imagine his rallying cry and telling people about what it would mean for us to have independence and what it means for us to be sovereign as a country and fight for what is ours and stand up for what we believe in and have our own say and get away from England at the time. Imagine what that anticipation would have been like. So I have a few songs that was leading up to the anticipation in 62, because when you go back to 1962 Calypso Monarch, a lot of these songs were about independence and about about Trinidad and Tobago basically, and what we were heading to and what we were looking forward to. And there's one song in particular. I want to salute a young fella by the name of Christian Constance, right? I only might know him as the boy Christian on the streaming platforms and so on, right? I was impressed because I always feel like it has some songs that youths bypass and they don't know one thing. And I see him as a great videographer and everything, right? And I see him make a post this week with fireworks and a collage of Trinidad and Tobago and very, very, very Trinidadian at 62 years old, you know? And a young fella like that, he must be a little fellow. And playing songs like these in the background of the video.
The whole population of our little nation is not a lot, but oh, what a mixture of races and culture, that's what we've got. Still no major indifference of race, color, religion or finance. It's amazing to you, I'm sure, we didn't get independence before, which means Trinidad and Tobago will always live on. Colonialism born, our nation is born, everybody. We go follow our leaders. They always do their best. Oh yes, we want to achieve. We're going to aspire. We're bound to be a success. It is a miracle all these different people can dwell so well. You see, we are educated to love and forget hatred. You know it's so. You people who are foreign, I got a message to you when you go in. Spread the word anywhere you pass. Tell the world there's a modern nation at last, which means Trinidad and Tobago will always live on. Colonialism gone, our nation is born. We go follow our leaders. They always do their best. We want to achieve, I myself go aspire. We want to be a success. Bam, 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 bam. The revenue we make from oil and the pitch lake is great, but wait, we got cocoa and copra, banana and sugar, coconut, citrus. We may be small, but we wealthy. Pound for pound, we'll beat New York City. We got beaches and hotels built by Hilton. Our nation is second to anyone. Where you talking? Trinidad and Tobago will always live on. Colonialism gone, our nation is born. We go follow our leaders. They always do their best. In order to achieve, you got to aspire, and we bound to be a success.
That's a Calypso Monarch in 1972. I had the next song for you too, you know. But before I get on to that, I want to salute a patriot. You see, Mr. Flagman as an example of unwavering patriotism and national pride. The purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. The people who have lived a fulfilled life understand that their lives have a purpose and that they have a duty to fulfill it. We are living in a very troubled world. Negativity pervades it. TNT, like the rest of the world, is in the same circumstances. Many in our society are rudderless, weary souls searching for safety, purpose, and peace. And yet, amongst the suffocating and nauseating negativity and toxicity, Jesus Christ, there are those individuals who have evolved to an understanding that those who serve the most discover peace of mind in the unrelenting pursuit of their purpose in life. I really clapping for my reading there. I do good. They have found their inner peace. They have become lighthouses of hope. A lighthouse offers guidance when the seas become rough. Those who become a lighthouse have found their passion in life and spend their days pursuing it. One such person I've encountered along my life's journey to date is Joey Richardson, also known as the flagman, aka Posh, aka Richie. Joey, a retired police inspector who I'm quite sure, like every other human being, will have a backstory of highs, lows, joys, sorrow, mistakes, and regrets. None of us are perfect. And there's an age-old saying, who is without sin cast the first stone. But regardless of whatever life may have thrown at Joey, good, bad, or indifferent, he found his purpose in life. Joey became a symbol of patriotism and an example of unwavering national pride. He was proud to display the red, white, and black and to carry the national flag. Wherever a TNT team was playing, the stadium could be full to the rafters or as empty as a discarded oil drum. Joey was ever present with his flag neatly dressed in the national colors. His act of national and civic pride wasn't limited to sports occasions. He was present at national events such as Emancipation Day, Independence Day celebrations. He was also a faithful supporter of West Indies cricket and took it upon himself to be a regional brand ambassador for Trini Carnival. On August 11th at 5:24 a.m., I received a WhatsApp message from Joey. Good morning, bro. Can you say when our team will be returning? Joey has, just so that you know, this is being written by Brian Lewis, right? There's a TTO Brian Lewis, right? Trinidad Olympic Committee. So he said he got a message from Joey asking, well, when the team returning, meaning that he's going to be there. We've seen him at the celebration for every athlete who come back in that airport. Sometimes the athletes go on and they lost, they didn't win no goal. Is he alone there with flag to greet them? It's a beautiful thing. Joey has always intended to be at the airport to welcome the team home, win, lose, or draw. I'd sent him the information that members of the team would be returning on August 14th at 3 p.m. His absence was noticeable. From day one of the 10 goal 20 S24 athlete welfare preparation fund marathon walk, Joey and his friends would walk from Curepe Junction with music and vocal encouragement to the finish line. I once invited Joey to a Harvard Club Rugby section fundraiser. Not only did Joey attend, but he was impeccably dressed and took home the best dress prize. Joey looked deep into his heart and awakened to his purpose. In doing so, he became an inspiration and a symbol of national pride and patriotism. He saw himself as a force for good, a vision that gave his life meaning. It gave him purpose and it fueled his hopes for a better, brighter, happier TNT. He walked his talk, Trinity to the bone. He displayed unconditional love for the Twin Island Republic for all to see and know as TNT celebrated 62nd Independence Day. We'll be missing Joey and his flag. Joey Richardson, aka Mr. Flagman, rest in eternal peace. We cherish your memories of a life well and fully lived. So salute to Joey the Flagman. You should remember him, right? You should remember him. If you're like me and you're in the stadium for different things that happen for the national teams, well, for me, it's mostly football, right? I can't tell you the last time I went cricket. When you go CPL games, he did. When you go West Indies games, if you want to put yourself through that, he did as well. He's been a true patriot. And everybody had to find their own route to patriotism. But you would always see him in his shades, red man, yeah, he head tie with the national flag and he walking around with the national flag. I want you all to throw back your memory to also remember that he wasn't the only flagman. He wasn't the first flagman. The first flagman I know, I'm not sure of his name. Like I was searching for his name, but I kept seeing Joey's name come back up. I can't find the name of the original flagman. If somebody remember it, remind me of it. But he was there as well and had started that tradition of walking around the stadium. He was fit, a dark-skinned fella, short, very, very strong. And he used to walk around the stadium round and round. Like it's almost like for a 90-minute game, he would never stop walking. And Joey had a vibe. Joey had an energy when you go over there with him. And I wanted to remember that Joey pick up that mantle of being a flagman in a time where, let me say, Trinidad wasn't winning a whole lot of games and them kind of thing. It's not the greatest era of any Caribbean or West Indian sports, or much as a Trinidadian sport, right? But he fly the mantle. But the original flagman, God bless his soul, to either pass away some time ago. And he was there through some of the heyday when the stadium full. And that man used to walk at a pace. Joey had a vibe. But when Joey walking and things, a vibe and an energy. But the original flagman used to walk at a pace. It's almost like if he is a fitness test for him. You couldn't keep up with him. And I remember, yeah, and if I remember right, I remember Joey started coming out when that original flagman was getting older and he was slowing down and stuff. And Joey used to come and walk with him and things. So nothing beats as a part of the independence celebration, them two men uniting in heaven. I want you to imagine how much flag going and walk around there. When they say God is a Trinity, it's Joey and the original flagman up there carrying the flag. But I want to play the second song that Sparrow had for 1962 for that Calypso Monarch Fair.
Very bad here in Trinidad, till I catch a plane to the USA, just to clear out the way, mama. Every day the mailman ringing, hundreds of letters he bringing. Before he walk out me hall, I shall to get her over. She called, hey, Sparrow, come back home. If you hear them go, Sparrow, come back home. Hey, don't leave us alone. Sparrow, come back home. Tell me what's the cry. Sparrow, come back home. Yes, you'll never miss your water till the well runs dry. Sparrow, come back home. Sparrow, come back home. Sparrow, come back home. Sparrow, come back home. I know I have the fans to please. Here in the West Indies, they buy me records like they mad. I can't treat these people bad, but New York people spending money to promote me at Carnegie. Contract and things I'm sign up to, I don't know what the heck to do. Look, Sparrow, come back home. If you hear them go, Sparrow, come back home. Don't leave we alone. Sparrow, come back home. Hey, tell me what's the cry. Sparrow, come back home. Yes, you'll never miss the water till the well runs dry. Sparrow, come back home.
So when you hear David Rogers say, right? Carnegie Hall, graced by the presence of Sparrow. Oh, and the singer done with the sailor shouting, don't go, Sparrow, don't go. And all that Sparrow don't go is Sparrow come back home. But in the midst of that, in modern day times, if you had to make a comparison, I can't make that comparison. 62, they even think about me yet. But if you had to compare, man, today to the great mighty Sparrow, you had to say that Machel Montano is one of them, right? I saw over the last week all the Instagram videos. You know, we live in the golden era of this thing too, you know, when it comes to soca music and them thing or culture in general. The fact that these men is walk around with camera crews behind them and they post everything, it's gonna be a little easier. When whoever is it, you see how the flag get past the Joey to walk. Whoever I pass this torch to come and talk about culture and them kind of thing, right? They have a gem or a gem in social media that is a repository of information where they could just go and look at all these videos and figure out who is who and who do what and who achieved this and who achieved that in a way that is a real struggle right now. And like to find the most basic information about people or songs and who sing this and who write this and who produce it is tough now. But the artists of today doing a great job documenting everything. And one of the things that was documented was Machel Montano, the entertainer, getting the keys to the city of New York last week, right? Calypso monarch Machel Montano was presented with the entertainer's key to the city of New York during a ceremony at Roy Wilkins Park in Queens, where he headlined a concert on Sunday. The honor was bestowed by Mayor of New York Eric Adams in conjunction with the Rise Up New York City concert series at the Apollo Theater. It was one of the highlights of a series of high-profile entertainers in London and New York City by the soca superstar, who begins his 4-day residency at the famed Apollo Theater in Harlem on Friday. It will be Machel Montano's first performance at the Apollo, the largest performing arts institution committed to black culture and creativity. He previously performed with sold-out crowds at Madison Square Garden in Manhattan, the UBS Arena in Long Island, and the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So congrats to Machel Montano on receiving the keys to the city of New York. I like that keys to the city thing, you know. I find who come up with that in the first place? Who come up with the idea that keys to the city is a way to honor people? I like the idea in general. With Machel being there, right? Machel have a way. They used to bad talk Machel a lot, right? And say that he's a culture vulture and he went a thing when Kamla and them was in power. He went the soca man 3 times and he collect 6 million and so. Me know if all that is true, but what I will say is that if you look, when you go through Machel discography, right? When the time done for him to be documented and looked at as in way we looking at a Sparrow or some of the artists we're gonna play today, right? You will realize that there's no major Calypso icon that Machel has not collaborated with. None. Any one of the icons you could name, Machel have a song with them. He sing a song written by them. He write a song and do a version of their song. There's almost, you just think of any one of them and you could go back to Machel being one of them. And coming off the heels of the receiving of this Keys of the City, and in a series of performances at the Apollo, we saw in the Caribbean Award. No, if I could get the name of thing right, this could be good. There's a man's right on thing, putting in front of me here, and then it's all hell break loose. The Caribbean Music Awards. In the midst of the Caribbean Music Awards, let me read that, right? So I'm freestyling. There was star-studded night for the region's performers as many donned their finest apparel to attend the 2024 Caribbean Music Awards on August 29th. Many of Trinidad and Tobago's artists were in the winner's row, with Patrice Roberts winning the Female Soca Artist of the Year. She posted to Instagram saying, honored to be named the Female of the Year. This journey has been one of resilience and pushing through the toughest of times. Keep in mind, this is Caribbean-wide, right? So this is not just a Trinidadian award. She will be competing with all artists throughout the Caribbean. I'm deeply thankful to be recognized for my hard work. This wouldn't be possible without my incredible team, writers and producers. Your unwavering support and talent made this achievement a reality. Here's to continuing the journey together. The ceremony was held at King's Theatre on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. You know how to go New York? I don't go New York. I ain't go New York since I was a little child and thing, and I find like New York have a vibe. It have an energy. I had to find myself there. Let me move on. Nailah Blackman and her team, including Anson Pro Several, also received 2 awards, Video of the Year and Soca Collaboration of the Year. Blackman said she attended the award ceremony with no expectation of winning the 2 awards. It had her at a loss for words, but she thanked her family, fans, management, writers, and producers for the song Come Home, which won the awards, and fellow artist Skinny Fabulous. Dancehall artist Spice and comedian Major Hype were the event's hosts. They did a great job. I want to fast forward to pass this here. Machel Montano, there as a presenter and a nominee, gave the mighty Sparrow the Calypso Recipient Award. If you didn't see that little clip going around on Instagram, right, try and find it. I would never. There are some people who every memory people have of them, and this will happen to all of us, right? All of us will be in a position where it have somebody who only know you as old. This life is the enjoying it. It has somebody who since them born you old like the hills, you're old, right? Them seeing you that way, and they can't imagine you young at all. It have no way for them to imagine you young. And since I small Sparrow old, but we see in an era now where whether you want to say the passing of the baton or the torch was done a long time ago. Now to see Sparrow on a stage with Machel, basically in a wheelchair, and days before that to see Machel going to New York and being able to greet Calypso Rose, and you could see the energy and the genuine love these people have for one another. You had to appreciate that we're living in a time where we could see them together, because that ain't gonna be long again. This life short and it's funny, and it's like one day is the baddest man in Calypso and he hire 10th so, and you could decide who is a star and who is not a star. And the next day you're being awarded for like a long service awards in a company. They come to get a Rolex. But it was great to see Sparrow and Machel on stage. And as I'm talking about the collaborations that Machel had with all the greatest or all the Calypso icons, all you remember this one?
You want me to talk the truth?
Congo man. When last you jam to a Congo drum, well the Congo man coming back and he come to tell on the tongue. Ready where the Congo man is coming down, 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 down. I say he coming down, 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 down. I say ready way, 'cause when he come, he's anyway. He hear a drum, he going wild in a the tongue, and everything that gossip a get overturned. Yo, how we going? Ha, beat the drum. Ha, turn it over. Ha, beat the drum. Ha, turn it over. Ha, beat the drum. Ha, turn it over. Ha, beat the drum. Ha, I say when last you hear about the Congo man, when last you jam to a Congo drum, overseas where he coming from, under the sun still overdone. Ready where the Congo man is coming down, 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 down. I say he coming down, 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 down.
Just to hear Sparrow ball like that is a blessing, boy. To see him on stage and in good spirits and everything is a blessing. Only know more well enough, right? I love the Machel and the Sparrow and thing. I love the collaborations. I like all of it, but it ain't gonna be me if I ain't give Sparrow version, right?
This is the story, ladies and gentlemen, about two lovely white women traveling all the way to Africa. Found them
The Leperere here, say that to me.
in the heart of the Baluba in the Congo. In the hands of my big brother, Oomba. Had it been me, I would have taken them back to their husband. But brother was hungry. Two white women traveling through Africa. Find themselves in the hands of a cannibal headhunter. He cook up one and eat one raw. Them taste so good, he wanted more. Me want more. I envy the Congo man. I wish it was me, I want to shake his hand. He eat until his stomach upset, and I never ate a white meat yet. To see what's taking place. There I saw the Congo going to take a little taste. He opened the eye and he started to grin, rubbing his belly and he mumbling. I envy the Congo man. I wish it was me, I want to shake his hand. He eat until his stomach upset. What about you, Rico? Yeah, you lie. Who there? Tie them up on the It's you. I envy the Congo man. I wish it was me. I want to shake your hand. He eat until his stomach upset. What about you? Screaming with all the voice she got. He lift she up and he put she inside a big pot. The water was warm. She started to wiggle. The Congo started to laugh and giggle. I envy the Congo man. I wish it was me. I want to shake his hand. He eat until his stomach upset, and I never eat a white meat yet.
Oh no, I never ate a white meat. I say I never ate a white meat. Oh, in a video shared on social media, Machel Montano is seen singing Congo Man with the birdie while the audience were heard loudly singing along with Machel and Sparrow. In a caption, Montano wrote it was a joy to sing with Sparrow. He thanked Sparrow for his many years of greatness in Calypso and soca. You paved the way for us all and helped me to become who I am today, Machel wrote. Truer words have not been spoken. I couldn't do it, you know. This is not planned, right? But just because I saw him a few days before, posted and given flowers to the Queen of Calypso, the original Queen of Calypso, the eternal Queen of Calypso, Rose McCarthy. I couldn't go out without playing this, right?
Yeah, it's Calypso Rose, the Calypso Queen of the world. Manu Joe Machel Montano. Here we go. Hey.
Boy, don't touch me like you're going crazy. Let go me hand. Let me jump up in the band. I don't want nobody to come and stop me. Leave me, let me free up. Me say let me jump up. So leave me alone. I ain't going home. So leave me alone. I ain't going home. Let me party, let me party, let me party, let me party.
Give me love. If we let we party, we having a ball. Nobody can stop we. No, not at all. I'm not chanting. Ay, ay, ay. When you see me, and your music hit me. Ay, ay, ay. I just break me. Getting on bad with somebody. So when you see me in the line, no matter what the time, I ready for the pumping. From back in the day till I hold and I pray, I prepared for the jumping. If you're 15 or 25, if you're 50 or 75, what's your breathing and you alive? So we whining all day.
So leave me alone. I ain't going home. So leave me alone. I ain't going.
So leave me alone. One says Sparrow come back home, the next one says she ain't going home. You're confused down there. Salute. Congratulations to Machel on everything he's doing, everything he's accomplished, and everything he's continuing to accomplish. And flying the flag high for Calypso, right? It might be a man you agree with, the polarizing figure. You might agree with him, disagree with him, but you can't deny that he flying the flag for soca music and now Calypso music. Remember the discussion we was having earlier this year about whether Machel should be in Calypso or he shouldn't be in Calypso. And I was saying then that Machel going and shed that kind of light on Calypso that it need. I anticipate that the Calypso Monarch next year is going to be oversubscribed. Whether he step aside, he decide to defend the crown, whether people beat him, which they probably will, right? If they be real, they'll probably beat him. But what he's done and what he's going to do for Calypso, and people complaining about Calypso being this and they need a resurgence and things, this might just be the resurgence that's needed because as part of his weekend at the Apollo Theatre, while I recording this, he will be recording his own performances. I try not to get distracted and look at the Instagram and see what is happening. But the event at the Apollo on Monday night, this is 2nd of September, will be Calypso Uptown with several Calypsonians on a star-studded lineup. So they say Machel Montano's residency concludes in a star-studded celebration of Calypso, featuring Lord Nelson, Ricky Jai, Michael Teja, Gypsy, Lyrical, Farmer Nappy, Kurt Allen, Myron B, hosted by Major Hype. If I am not mistaken, I think Karen Ashe is in this mix too. I saw somewhere that Karen Ashe was on the billing for this, right? Because I think he took the top 3 in the Calypso Monarch competition, which I believe was Karen Ashe and Kurt Allen and Machel. But I can't remember offhand. But I believe Karen Ashe was on the billing and she was posting on her Instagram about it and so on. I just want to put it out there, right? Machel was going to sell out the Apollo. Machel sell out Madison Square Garden, right? My understanding is that Apollo is a smaller, more intimate venue. And over the weekend, you saw several artists come on with him. I know Nadia Batson was on with him and so on. So several artists he did, and which we would typically do, right? Whether it's Machel Monday or some of his earlier performances when it used to be alternative concept and so on. Over the years, he put plenty artists on stage. I don't want to say put on like there wasn't big artists before, but he put plenty artists in forums. This might be one of the first times I see him taking Calypso in this way. And think of it this way. He didn't bound to do that, right? He didn't bound to put Calypso on that billing at all. He would have sell it out anyway. And he could have performed his hits. He could have just do Machel in the 80s. He could do whatever you want. So I salute for him for that, right? I want to say a special salute as well. And I want to point this out that the importance of him closing off his residency with this says something about what is his intention to treat with Calypso over the next whatever period or whatever era he in his life, right? Because again, 1 minute it is be the man on top of the show and you're bad and you have your Calypso set, and the next minute is wheelchair. You know, I went and see the Calypso Rose show and see what the impact she would have and some of the decisions and choices she had to make and the fight she had to go through as a young girl coming into Calypso, as a little child playing Calypso Rose in the show, you know. And then time is the great equalizer. You can't escape Father Time, they say. Calypso Rose in a wheelchair now calling for she young boy. So, time is coming. Time, one day is the baddest man in thing, and they say thing and Machel had this attitude. But again, if somebody go be doing that for he and presenting him with something and coming with collaborate, hopefully. And the only way that will happen is if somebody like him continue to pass the torch. And I think I'm pretty sure that I saw Aaron Duncan on this billing as well. I hope I have this right, but I know several Calypsonians want it. So the fact that he did a night of Calypso says something. The fact that it's sold out says something. And I appreciate the fact that, and we all should appreciate the fact that Machel doing this and making it into what we've all been kind of saying, like Calypso dying down and is a dying art form and it needs a change and all them kind of thing. And he taking his mainstream platform and putting Calypso right smack dab on it, right? Now, as I see Ricky Jai on the billing, right? As a man is clean up my episode. Think of this. I remember somebody describing one of the first people I ever sent the podcast to for feedback, right? She told me it's like one long voice note. She said it's like a real long, entertaining voice note that she listening to when she had be talking about it, right? And just think a week to week, episode to episode is like one long voice note. Because why I ain't fix last week, I go fix this week. So last week, I play a little tune, right? That I tend to like a lot. The lyrics of the tune go like this, right? Oh, let her forget any little bad chord, forget that, eh? Sumincha born in a shack in Tebe, and she parents from Indian walk. This pretty girl I'm a tracking whole day, full in my head with she fancy talk. It's for years I suiting she, and she smiling back at me. But when I send me letter, I don't get no answer, so I hit the record shop. Indian records I buy up. When I reach by the gate, she say stop, Ricky stop. She say holy Lata Mangeshka, give me soca. Oh, you're supposed to know that tune, right? Tickle me with a love way, soca me till I say, but holy Lata Mangeshka, give me soca. I ain't gonna call no name, right? I ain't gonna call no name because we here to uplift, right? I just uplift, but so Palace says, he asked me, well, what is he really saying in that song? What is he saying? Whole what? And I said, but what? And it escapes me sometimes. It escapes me sometimes that things that might be obvious to some people who born a long time, it mightn't be so obvious at the time. And you know, the truth is that at the time, I want to laugh when she asked me the question, like, because she is a woman, know the culture, she know the thing, right? So I was like, I surprised that she asking a question like that, like, you don't understand what he's saying. But in fairness to her, I had to ask my mother that back then too, because I go in Calypso Spectacular, I see in Ricky Jai, and I just say, holy and this time, all I know is, holy. Me ain't know the song neither, so when you don't know, right? You just don't know, right? But if you didn't know what that song's singing about, right? He's singing about tracking an Indian girl, right? He say, boy, I look at that tracking this girl. You hear what the lyrics say? He says, yes, he's suiting she. And she's smiling back at he. But when he send the letter, he can't get no answer. So he hit the record shop and started to buy up Indian record. That he tracking thing. And as he reached by the gate, she says, stop. Ricky, stop. She say, hold the Lata Mangeshkar, give me soca. So Lata Mangeshkar, just Google Lata Mangeshkar. You see that Lata Mangeshkar is a popular, well, one of the top Indian singers, right? Indian from India now, right? So they say Lata Mangeshkar. So the name is Lata Mangeshkar. Was an Indian playback singer and occasional music composer. She's considered to be one of the greatest and most influential singers of all time. Right? Is one of the greatest and most influential in the Indian subcontinent. Her voice was one of the unifying elements of the people of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal. Her contribution to the Indian music industry in her career, spanning 8 decades, gained her honorific titles such as the Queen of Melody, the Nightingale of India, and the Voice of the Millennium. So the girl basically telling Ricky, hold on to that Lata Mangeshkar thing. I had enough of that. I want somebody tickle me with a love way, soca me till I say, but holy Lata. I just say, no, in case, according to any great words of Daniel, if you didn't know, now you know. But I kind of assume that people know that. So that's clearing up. As I say, I ain't gonna call no name, right? But policy, he asked me that, you know what I mean? So I had to clear it up. What else we have on the docket? I want to go back to, I promised you something, you know, and I was like, sometime I just promised thing and I forget to do it in the episode. So I did promise you that in the spirit of independence, I am going to play for you some of the big songs from the year 1962. And you might possibly get a little taste of 63 too, because think of 62 as leading up to independence and all the anticipation and the joy that would have come with that from the musical side and from the country as a whole. The Calypso is just a reflection of how the people feeling, right? Think of what that was like for 62, and then we go take a peep at 63 too to see when the tide turned. Because one of the criticisms of Calypso now is that Calypso used to be a voice of the people, but you could see when you look at Calypso from 63 onward, all the way up to the 80s, you start to see where the Calypsonian was trying to make the complaints or document what we wanted society to be, or pointing out some of the ills of society, or putting up there like the things that like the father of the nation and who all them things documented in Calypsos as we were trying to find our legs and figure out what we want to be as a republic or as independence. But you know what? You want to hear the road march in 1962 that had nothing to do with none of that at all? Let's go!
I was playing a boss, but look at me cross. Friends, this thing reached so far. Man, white in the south, I still in a doubt. I pick up with Maria. The introducer to me, darling, that's Lord Blakey. Oh, what a lovely face. She put on she angel smile on me, and that was the case of me calling Maria. Girl, I love you so bad. Maria, if you leave me now, it'll be hard. I don't know what made me love so, but she kept me sweet. What she give me to rub, I let's go! I don't know what to say, a boiling tongue every day. She do with me what she like. I can't catch me breath, I frightened to death. You could ask me, never mind. It have a thing she does do, I can't tell it to you because plenty people go cry. And yet still it have some deceitful one in here will say that Lord Blakey lie. I'm a bowling Maria. Girl, I love you so bad. Maria, if you leave me now, will be hard. She's somewhere hiding in the back there. As I finish sing and get me money to take everything. This thing in my mind, I want to say it all the time. It's that thing that have me so. All over the night, she just wake me for spite for what I really don't know. And I can't make no fuss, cause it might face go bust. So you see the position, friend. But the old people have a talk, they just say the longest rope of an end of me bowling Maria. Girl, I love you so bad. Maria, if you leave me now, will be hard. Me granny, she turn around and tell me, Soca fe kapwi, Tijol Macawel winning. Looking cooler, easy to fool. Any woman could try the fake. I'll tell you it's frank, got some cash in the bank, so come before it's too late. And don't make a mess, I'll give you my address. Any woman could come by me. And when you leave anyone or your friend want to try, you could send them by Lord Blakey of me bowling Maria. You better tell them the fact. When you leave me, girl, you have to come back. It's not easy to spend Blakey money. Maria, let them know. Take the pressure you have to undergo.
What pressure is that, Blakey? What kind of pressure you putting people on the road march on 1962, right? So it's just this really contrast in the music, right? I want to play for you now because I just look up at my screen, right? And I'll tell you the rest of the topics I had to talk about, right? I had to talk about Gary tells Kamla I was no failure as commissioner of police. Kamla says I have no fear, unfazed by criticisms, emerging party, or Gary Griffith. And hope PRO resigns and bashes party. So I'm gonna need a little energy to get into that, right? I will need a little energy. So I want to go in one time to the Calypso monarch of 1963, right? This is a year after independence. So this is after men get independent. So if you feel the discussion about breaking away from colonialism start today because we 60-something years down the road, here one man open with as soon as we get we independence.
Captain, there's a traitor on board. Examine the horns. According to the education you get when you're small, you will grow up with true ambition and respect from one and all. But in my days in school, they teach me like a fool. The things they teach me, I should be a block-headed mule. They tell me pussy has finished his work long ago, and now he resting and ting. Solomon Gandhi was born on a Monday, the ass in the lion's skin. Winking, blinking, and nod, sail off in a wooden sloop. The goatee lose the tail and the alligator fighting to make monkey liver soup. And Dan is the man in the van. The poems and the lessons they write and send from England impress me. They were trying to cultivate comedians. Comic books made more sense. You know it is fictitious without pretense. Cartridge wanted to keep us in ignorance. Tell me if this ain't your business. Humpy Dumpy sat on a wall. Humpy Dumpy didn't fall. Goosey, goosey, gander. Where shall I wander? Ding dong dell. Pussy in a well. R-I-K-K-I-T-I-K-K-I-T-I-V-I. Rikki-tikki-tikki-tikki-tavi. Dan is the man in the van. I said Cartridge was plenty times more advanced than them scientists. I am believed that no one man could write so much stupidness. Aeroplanes didn't come so soon. Scientists used to make the grading balloon. Cartridge make a cow jump over the moon. And then he tell them, Tom, Tom, the piper's son, thief a pig and away he ran. Once there was a woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. Dickory, a dickory duck. Yes. The mouse ran up the clock. The lion and the mouse, a woman pushing a cow to eat grass on top of a house. Mama Dan is the man in the van.
I just need a little energy to talk about these things, right? So, 1963, the road march. So that was it seemed as though 1963 was a one-song Calypso monarch because that's the only song that listed by Sparrow as winning the road march. Maybe it was one of them years where they had reduced it to one song for whatever reason. But the road march of that year, sorry Sparrow, sorry, you didn't finish yet? I thought you done sing. The road march of that year is done by The road march king of the world. I could still say that. Or I would say Machel Montano is the road march king of the world. No. My road march king of the world, right? 1963 road march.
I hear how they planning for carnival coming. I hear how they planning for carnival coming. They say they gon' beat people and they don't care about trouble, but tell them don't worry with me. It's a different thing, 1963, because the road make to walk on carnival day. Constable, I don't want to talk, but I got to say, any steel band man only venture to break this ban. Is a long funeral from the Royal Hospital. I get information about the situation. They tell me Tokyo is a danger with Desperado. They even call Sun Valley, Trinidad All Stars and Tripoli. They could play the mass as long they don't tackle me when they pass, because the road make the walk on Carnival Day. Constable, I don't want to talk, but I got to say, any steel band man only venture to break this ban. Is a long funeral from the Royal Hospital.
We're not going to the garden. Let me talk politics quick now. This is coming in a nutshell, right? NTA announces constituencies is contesting for the general election. So the National Transformation Alliance, who you remember would be Guy Griffith's party, who had said initially that he's contesting all 41 seats. Men starting to make sense of themselves now, right? Men starting when they only look at the budget to do that, men starting to cut down. So they say they're going after 10 seats. San Fernando West, La Joquita, Talparo, Tunapuna, St. Joseph, Toko, Sandy Grande, Moruga, Tableland, Mayaro, Point-a-Pierre, Chagonas East, and Barataria, Sanwo. So, when you look at the parties that let me say newer parties, right? I don't necessarily, I mean, the PNM and UNC really is difficult parties to fight. Them two parties have been around for a long time. Since 62, not as early as that, but they've been around for a long time. And they have a machinery when it comes to election, right? I see doing Bravo. Salute to Bravo, right? Bravo come and announce in the midst of CPL that he's happy to be retiring from his international playing career in Trinidad and Tobago, playing for Trinidad and Tobago in front of CPL crowds right in the region that embrace him and love him so much, right? And salute to Bravo for his retirement and so on. When I see it, you feel good for it. But listen, I want you to appreciate that again. When it's about age, Bravo was a young boy coming into West Indies for most of us watching cricket, right? So to see him age completely out of the cricket to the point of retirement now, it's something else to see. It's something else to observe. Like when the first year the CPL come out, the excitement around that, and Bravo is the captain on Trinidad side and all them kind of things. It was great to see, and good to see the CPL still going strong in terms of support. And Bravo bowing down, Bravo stepping out, and I feel good for him that he achieved his. I mean, everything he could achieve in cricket, he achieved. At least in T20 and that kind of club cricket or the tournament cricket. Even if he didn't get to achieve all of it with West Indies. And salute him, one of the greatest to ever do it. Right? Tranquil man, I went tranquil with Bravo, I just allow him to, because I was going bat and maybe I said, boy, you have a future, you go ahead and bat, and I just take a backseat. I say a podcast to do and them kind of thing in the future, you know what I mean? So I had to take a backseat from that. But I see that and feel so good for the man. But little did I know that Machel, what was Machel's name again? I'm only thinking Machel Ambrosius. What is Machel name from the UNC? I'm going to make sure I have the name right. Machel Walker, UNC candidate for Diego Martin West. Where everybody's saying, congrats, great career, bravo, thing, hang around, coach, we want to next year, all them kind of comments. On Machel Walker is under there saying in the comments, talking about Kamla Persad Bissessar, this is the way you step down at the top of your career and you don't go out and mash up your legacy by holding on too long. You have to be a special... Politics is a hell of a thing, you know. Like, why would you use such an opportunity to make that about yourself or make that about Kamla Persad? I mean, that is bravo thing. Like, just celebrate him now and move on. But politicians are special kind of people. But again, the UNC and the PNM will be hard to beat on any given Sunday. So it looked like the parties are setting their sights on a lot of the marginal seats, right? So a lot of these seats here may be seen as marginal or the two big parties fighting one another. And I don't find it's a bad strategy at all. The political parties, the smaller or the budding now coming up political parties, like the Watson Dukes, I can't remember his name, if he's still fighting in Trinidad and so on, the party name I should say. I can't remember Kizelle Jackson party name and so on. But it might make sense to fight in the marginals and narrow your efforts down to a few constituencies where you could have the resources and the budget to put into it. And once you do that, if you get any traction or you happen to win one or the whole idea of splitting the vote, I don't like the term too much, but the whole idea of splitting the vote, then that could allow you to at least be nicely aligned and dovetailed with another party. But it didn't look like Gary and Kamla, they ain't getting along too good. Or Gary tells Kamla, I was no failure as commissioner of police. This from the Newsday by Clint Chantak. Former commissioner of police Gary Griffith has dismissed claims from opposition leader Kamla Persad Bissessar that he was a failure as commissioner of police. Griffith made this comment on August 26 in a response to statements made by Persad Bissessar at a UNC cottage meeting in Chaguanas hours earlier. In his response, Griffith described Persad Bissessar as the local version of U.S. President Joe Biden in local politics. He cast doubts on whether the National Transformation Alliance, which he leads, will form an alliance with UNC for next year's general election. Persad Bissessar claimed that all national security ministers under the PNM between 2015 and now had failed. Those ministers included Edmund Dillon, Stuart Young, and Fitzgerald Hines. She said the commissioner of police appointed during the last 9 years were also failures, which were Griffith, McNeil, Jacob, and so on, who acted in the position and included Erla Harewood. Persad Bissessar claimed that the PNMs had a habit of bypassing the most qualified candidates. Well, Gary don't like people to say he was not the most qualified. So in a statement, he said her comments about my tenure as COP, where she falsely claimed I was a failure, only serve to highlight her lack of understanding of national security. And then he went on to quote some statistics and so on, right? Kamla also come out and say, I'm unfazed by any emergent party or any criticism from all them. According to Akasamru, earlier this week, a breakaway faction from the dissatisfied UNC members announced the formation of a new party called Unity is Power. Is it? While the faces of the new proposed party are yet to be revealed, the group said in a statement, Persad Bissessar has a petty approach to unity. That sentiment was also echoed by National Transformation Alliance leader Gary Griffith yesterday after the cracks in their leadership developed into chasm or chasm, how you say that? But this was in reply to what Griffith has perceived as a lack or as an attack on his character. I think Griffith is tend to perceive things as a attack on his character. I'm going straight into Hope PRO because them parties and people. We when you look at it now, right? This September 2024. We 1 year away from heat and election season and things. So parties trying to line up alliances being formed or not formed. And Hope PRO, you remember Hope? Hope is Karen Nunez to share a party, remember? I hope you do. Hope Deputy Political Leader Karen Nunez to share says that while the party's PR officer, Rudolph Hanamji, was within his rights to resign, his scathing commentary could hurt the organization. In a statement following his resignation, Amanji said there's no hope in the political leader, Timothy Hamill-Smith. He was right when he said something must change, right? No, all right, enough of that. I know reading more. Forget that. Anselm Douglas says, let me do why it's come to do it because the politics thing is some else say carniness to Texiera. Wall jumpers and so on in the party. Anselm Douglas lets the dogs out. Soca veteran Anselm Douglas sets the record straight. No, a few things about this. Who let the dogs out, right? There's a producer by the name of Manny Fresh, big producer. Them fellas was down in the south in the States too with Juvenile and some of the earliest, if I remember right, it would be Cash Money. Some of the earliest people and producers in that movement. Was it Cash Money or was it Master P and them? I can't remember, but they were huge producers down south and responsible for a whole movement that was establishing the South in the States as a formidable force against what would have been New York rap at the time, right? And he had a little, to me, just a throwaway statement in an interview that, Trinidadians don't play these kind of games, right? And he basically said that the Baha men come to him and they was bothering him for a verse or they was bothering him for a hook for a song. And he tell them, just sing blah, 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 right? Now, this song is globally popular, right? So I'm a little frightened to play this song, but I'll play a little snippet, maybe a 5 seconds, right? So you remember. This is why I know as the original version, right?
Hey, ladies, take charge of this one. Are you run things?
I ain't playing no more because I can't take the YouTube edits and have to cut out thing too much. You see them song will get too big, you can't play them, no? So the man basically say he tell them just take the hook, who let the dogs out, who. He didn't take no credit for it, everybody. And that's a little Nailah Simone. I like her as an interviewer and as a podcaster as well. It was on her show that they said it. And of course, Trinidadians went and battle and gain an uproar about it, rightfully so. But Machel Montano, of course, would be the best man to get a statement from Anselm Douglas. Salute to my boy Naldo. Naldo tell me, listen, I do any culture thing now. I don't reach out to people. I'll tell you, I reach out and I get no response. This is typical, right? When you reach out to Calypsonians on whatever medium they have, it could be Facebook, and these men don't really check the DMs or they don't have nobody who is check it, so you don't ever get it. They don't even show us read. It's kind of odd. But again, the response is nonsense. That was the dismissive response from veteran soca artist Anselm Douglas to a viral video suggesting that he was not the original writer of his most iconic song, Doggy. American hip-hop producer Manny Fresh claimed ownership over Douglas's Who Let the Dog Out. He didn't claim ownership. He just basically said that they were bothering him and he just gave them it, and he actually was saying that he had no ownership of it. And it's something that he regrets. He didn't expect it to become such a big song, basically. So that was what was causing the uproar. I mean, when I look at it, my first thought was also nonsense. To me it sound like garbage because Baha Men didn't need no hook for that song because they sing over the exact same song. A doggy is nothing if you don't have a bone. All that push up your bone. And Anselm Douglas was at the time a big band singer at the time and had some hits. He had some songs, but that Doggy song was a decent hit down here. It wasn't the biggest song for the carnival by any stretch, but it was a big song in fets and them. Party was hot, the party was jumping. Oi, IPI. So when you think of it, it's like, what was there that anybody could really claim that they take or gave to that song when the fellas just sing over exactly what it is Anselm Douglas sing over. So I guess Anselm Douglas come out and rubbish the claim just as all of us suspected and say he was writing that song. That song was designed for Carnival. If you remember at the time too, when we hear the song originally about Baha Men, and there was a video for it as well, and I'll say that the video was a little bit annoying as well because the video is what make us know the song. And so the average Trinidadian who know that song and what that song was for Carnival, that Baha Men song so watery and it never sung good to us, but it turned out to be one of the bigger songs out there. And I will say it's not uncommon in our history for our local calypsos to become international hits by non-Trinidadians. It's not an uncommon thing at all. Like you'll hear people take versions of the song, and sometimes the song not changed that much or changed at all, and they get international recognition that at times you would say that a Trinidadian, if they had sing the same thing, probably wouldn't have get. In other words, if you think Anselm Douglas could have made that song a big hit, like if he had taken the song, he did sing the song, right? And it wasn't no global hit at the time. Even if he had promoted it and went all over the world singing, sometimes them record labels is one of the right people with the right budgets to push these songs and the right amount of payola and them thing. But it's not the first time we would have seen this, right? So I'm going to close off this episode with a few songs that would have been just like that. And on one in particular, one artist in particular, because if you remember, the first album to sell 1 million copies, the name of that album was Calypso. It was done by Harry Belafonte, right? And several songs on that Harry Belafonte album is versions of Trinidadian songs and calypsos that he had, particularly because he had a good relationship with Lord Melody and a good relationship with Calypsonians here a lot. And it was the same set of controversies at the time where people saying the Melody just my song, and Melody had to be the one who come out and defend him and say, no, I love the fella and I give him these songs to sing. We work it out together and they sing it. This was one of those songs.
I wonder why nobody don't like me. Or is it a fact that I'm ugly? Tell me why nobody don't like me. Or is it the fact that I'm ugly? I leave me whole house and go. My children don't want me no more. Because in black is white and thing. And when I talk they start to sing. Mama look up boo boo. They shout. The mother told them shut up your mouth. That is your father. Oh no. My daddy can't be ugly, so shut your mouth, go away. Mama look up boo boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama look up boo boo day. I couldn't even digest my supper due to the children's behavior. John, yes, pa, come here a moment. Bring the belt you to Danko Gillen. Daddy is Gene who start off first. No, daddy is Joyce who start to curse. I drag my belt from off my waist. If you see races out of place, mama look up, boo. They shout. The mother told them shut up your mouth. That is your father. Oh no, my daddy can't be ugly, so shut your mouth, go away. Mama look up, boo boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama look up, boo boo day. Wife and I had a big disturbance owing to the constant annoyance. In order to live peaceful and happy, she sent the children in the country, coming home a day after working very hard. A woman see me and she faithfully in the yard. The neighbor run and pick she up. She recover but the woman wouldn't stop. Neighbor, I see a boo-boo, oh lad, walking in the backyard. Oh lad, I went to assist her. She bawled, oh lad, the boo-boo still inside the yard. Shut your mouth, go away. Neighbor, look a boo-boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Neighbor, look a boo-boo day.
This is one from the Calypso album itself. He went on to sing several Lord Melody compositions and songs, but this is one from the Calypso album from Harry Belafonte that was originally done by Lord Invader.
What's wrong with you, Miss Ivy girl? Why you trying to trap me with a baby? What's wrong with you, Miss Ivy girl? Why you trying to trap me with a baby? We only got friendly in September, and the baby was born in November. Girl, you can't fool me like that. Tell me how a monkey can make a cat. So we singing about brown skin girl, stay home and mind baby. Brown skin girl, stay home and mind baby. I'm going away on a sailing boat, and if daddy don't come back, stay home and mind baby. Now this is something a blind can see, that he baby and belong to me. You can see I'm a fella with a funny face, and the baby and belong to the Negro race. If she come to America, she compelled to find the right father. So girl, don't worry with me, you can't tie me up with that blue-eyed baby. So we singing about brown skin girl, stay home and mind baby. What is the chorus? Brown skin girl, stay home and mind baby. I'm going away on a sailing boat, and if daddy don't come back, stay home and mind baby. Yes, Ivy, I'm not responsible for baby that belong to other people. A girl of your age to blooming smart, you wanted to trap me from the start. This she never heard before. When the baby was born, I was the father-in-law. But friends, I'll tell you the truth, the child even born in a sailor suit. So we singing about brown skin girl, stay home and mind baby. Brown skin girl, stay home and mind baby. I'm going away on a sailing boat, and if daddy don't come back, stay home and mind baby.
I had to tell you that Lord Melody, 1962 was one of his biggest years as well. That same 1962 we talking about whole episode. One of the biggest years. 3 albums released this year, right? And I'm dedicating this song to a fella I wouldn't call no name. Don't call no name, right? Don't say I say. Don't tell him I say. Only I leaving only with this one. Listen, it's back to school week, back to traffic. And again, I designed this thing to end at about 2 hours. Because I know people have an hour in traffic to go to work and an hour in traffic to go home. But since I am now only 10 minutes away and in traffic and 10 minutes to go home, it's a heavy mini episode from now on, and the episode goes start to get short. It's about 10. I only need 10. And right now, Paula Stacy, she leaving home 5 minutes before it's time to reach where she going. So episode could come down to 5 minutes. But listen, Wishing only the best. Have a good week. Have a productive week. Everybody's starting something new, right? Whether you're starting a new school or you're starting a new form or you're starting a new standard, all the best to all the parents. I know the issue is really the parents and not the children. As much as we talk about Sparrow and we close off with melody, it's only right that my last tune for the episode had to be a song that Mello sing, Going at Sparrow. Also one of my favorite songs from Lord Melody. Enjoy the traffic, support the children, be productive, and have a good week. I will see you all in next week around the same time.